What is up? What is going on? Welcome to RossonARI TV. This is a Milan News edition, and we're going to be talking about some interesting stuff that is happening right now in the world of AC Milan. The big subject of the day is Camarda, and we'll be talking about Camarda. There is some very interesting news regarding Camarda, and there's some very interesting debates that can open up regarding Camarda and the situation. What's up, Antonio? How you doing, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, yo, how you doing, man? I've been busy, but I'm excited that the semester's almost over, and I've got some exciting plans that I'm trying to organize right now for vacation this summer. So we can talk about that later.
When is your semester over?
Like the first week of May.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you still got plenty. You got a month still to go.
Yeah,
So you're going towards your exams pretty much, right?
yeah, some like end of the semester stuff. But yeah, I want to talk about my vacation plans because they're about Milan. So I'm gonna try to do
No, we're
something.
not. I know what
Yes,
your
they are. Yes,
vacation
they.
plans are. No, you're going to go and see Liverpool versus Leverkusen in Ireland. What has Milan got to
Yeah,
do with
yeah.
it?
Well, I haven't finalized the vacation yet, but I'm also considering going to Italy as well. So in that case, I may do something there. But yeah, that's the goal is to go see the Europa League final. But we'll see.
Bella Italia, mamma mia, quanto mi manca. Guys, Italy is such a beautiful country. Whoever has the opportunity to go and visit, please do so. Right now, actually, we have one of our good friend subscribers, Andre Gibson. He is going to see Fiorentina, Milan, Fiorentina, Milan, then Milan Lecce. He's going to see both those games. And, he said he's going to take some pictures, some videos. And when he gets back home, he's going to hop onto the channel and tell us about his experience. So that's going to be interesting. He's got some really good seats right there behind the bench. So I'm sure he's going to have a very, very good experience watching two Milan games, then visiting Italy, Firenze, Lecce. So it's going to be really nice for him. Anyway, let's get straight into it. My lord. First of all, let's get straight into the Camarda thing. Let's not waste any time. Antonio, we don't waste time here at RossonARI TV. Capiche? We don't waste time. We're going to go straight into it. So, the Longoni, who is, for many people, public enemy number one, has come up with some very interesting information, according to his sources, straight from the CIA. Speaking whilst on the Milan Hello YouTube channel, Italian journalist Andrea Longoni explained the latest on Camarda's potential renewal with the club. Having turned 16 years old, Camarda is now eligible to sign a new contract with Milan, but there's no agreement currently in place and no real rush. But interest in him from other clubs is growing rapidly. Camarda is represented by Beppe Rizzo. Beppe Rizzo is Tonali's agent and the agent of most Italians' top players. Beppe Rizzo, and so far, there has been no suggestion that he sees his future away from Milan. Despite that, he and his entourage are reportedly requesting a 3-year deal with an option for another 2 years with a salary of $2 million. It is also reported that the agent's commission would be around $10 million, which is an unheard of figure for a player so young and who has one senior appearance to his name. He has 2 senior appearances to your name. Whoever wrote this article, Ian Burns, get your shit correct. The team that seems most likely right now to pounce on the situation is Manchester United, another club with a proud history of giving young players a chance in the first team when the time is right. I did see these rumors. Milan will have to work hard to reduce these figures if they're true, as the salary would put Camarda above some established first-team players. Damn. So, things that have been coming out. First of all, Camarda is 16. He is one of the most exciting youth players, not in Italy, in the world. He's already a European, at least internationally known youth sensation. This guy has scored more goals than Rocco Siffredi has had. has whatever. Let's not go there. This guy has scored so many goals already. He's breaking records. He's obviously a very special player, a generational talent. The first question I have is, why haven't we signed a contract with him yet? And then we're going to talk about the numbers. So let's start with you, Antonio. What do you make out of this situation? How do you see this playing out? And why do you think he hasn't signed a contract yet? What's going on there? What do you think?
Yeah, this is a crazy situation. So for me, obviously, the holdup is the agent commission because we've historically not paid those commissions to many players. I think Beppe Rizzo is also, I think he had a good relationship with Maldini. So there could be something like there as well, where maybe his relationship isn't as good. And so they have to negotiate more. I think, it's natural. If you think about it from Camarda's perspective and from his agent's perspective, like I've been trying to be a little bit less biased in my, Milan analysis. And I want to think from, their side of it. It doesn't hurt them to shop around to try to gain leverage on Milan. I'm not saying he wants to leave the club, but he's going to see what type of standard in terms of wages and commissions that they can get at some of these other super big clubs, because that's what happens with top players in general. They like to leverage other teams and then use that in negotiations. So of course, you have Man City that's also linked with him. I think Dortmund, like, that always likes to get young players, and I think like that is sort of what they're doing, is they're sort of filtering and they're having these discussions saying, okay, look, these other teams have verbally offered us this. So I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, obviously. And it's not, I think it's very much up in the air. We don't know if he's going to stay or not. I don't think he wants to leave. I think staying in a familiar environment with a team that's already, given you a lot. Of course, he doesn't owe us anything, but you would think that he would want to stay and continue his development in Italy and not, leave and have to get used to everything in another country. So I think if Milan is willing to entertain the commission and this sort of negotiation and at least meet them somewhere in the middle, they can get the deal done. If Milan is just like gonna lowball and be very, I guess, not like, I mean, yeah, it's sort of treating the deal in a risky way, then we could see some issues. But I think that, I mean, I doubt that Milan would let a talent like this go. I mean, he's Italian, he's a number 9. These are country position, not easy to find a quality player that fits his profile and that has the stats to prove it. So I don't know why we wouldn't. I mean, for me, I believe that we should at least negotiate. I'm not saying we just agree to the 10 million, but it is a lot for a 16-year-old. But I think at least, paying a little. I wouldn't be against paying some commission for this, because it's just how it is. You have to do it to get it done. You have to keep these players. So that's my opinion.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Based opinion, I want to say based, because I mean, obviously, this guy is drawing a lot of attention from the big clubs. Obviously, he is. This fucking scores bicycle kick goals against PSG in the youth league semifinal champions. Right now, the U17 just won their elite tournament against big teams: Belgium, Holland, and Finland, who was the home turf team over there. Camarda had, I think, 5 goals total in that competition. So they won that unbeaten. And
Yeah,
now, they're into it. So Camarda is definitely drawing attention for sure. There's no doubt about that.
yeah.
So
And
I
Roy, one other
definitely,
thing I want to mention. Sorry to cut you off before you go. Like you said, Dortmund, who we played against in the UEFA Youth League group, of course, they're one of these teams that's also interested in him. And you have to think about this perspective, which is another reason why you sign him, why you try to get him, locked in right now. Dortmund has no issues getting and convincing these young players to go into their team, and they've basically proven that they have such a high likelihood of getting an expected return from, like, they're a selling. They're not one of the top clubs, I guess, where they can hold on to these players like Holland, Bellingham, Sancho, etc. and they're able to generate this return because they invest in these young players and then get that return. So I'm not saying we have to sell them in the future, but I think it just makes sense for a player his age to just get this deal secured. Anyways, keep going.
Well, yeah, and I was going to get to that. Like teams like Dortmund definitely would pay if these numbers are true. First of all, let's continue to say that if these numbers are true, Dortmund has no problem buying a player like Camarda and giving the agent 10 million, because in a few years they're going to sell him for 100 million. So they're going to make they're going to make 90 million back. That's Dortmund's strategy with young players. It's a shameless club that that does that kind of thing. Obviously, when we talk about Milan, that's not what the fans want to hear. If we're going to renew Camarda, it's not because we want to sell him and make a profit. It's because we want to keep the player. Milan, in theory, should have this kind of mentality, an elite kind of mentality, where you have the best players, you keep them, and you keep them at your club as much as possible. So let's talk about these numbers. 2 million a year for Camarda. Now, the article did not actually did not specify whether it's 2 million per year or 2 million per season or 2 million total. The article did not specify that. If there is somewhere that specifies where it's 2 million per season, then yeah, I want to see that. But this article here did not specify 2 million per year. It says, despite that, his entourage are reporting requesting a 3-year deal with an option for another 2 years with a salary of 2 million. Does that mean 2 million total, or does that mean 2 million a year? That's a question that I have. If anybody knows that, actually, I would like to see. But let's behave as if these numbers are real. So let's say it's 2 million per year. 10 million to the agent, 5 million to the parents, or something like this. I've seen other reports where the parents also want their share of money, etc., etc. So the debate is this. Let's get into the debate. Like, we have seen that the big clubs like Real Madrid have no problem spending up to 60 million plus agent fees, plus family fees, bring the family to Spain, give them jobs, blah, 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 for the best talent of the future. And it pays dividends, because in the end, Vinicius Jr. was one of them. That was a great business for Real Madrid. Rodrigo. Now, Endrick, he just scored 2 goals for Brazil. This kid is just turned 17. He's incredible. He's incredible. So when we look at Camarda, do we look at this at the same way? Yeah, this is going to be, according to what we're seeing right now, one of the best players in his position in Europe, in the world, because the numbers he's doing are numbers that nobody else in Europe is doing. So, yeah, for his age. So the question is, no, Bucket, why did you invite your dad, dude? Oh my God.
Oh, you don't have to
stay on. Okay. So the numbers that we're talking about, are numbers that are really that much. We're talking about 10 million for the agent, 2 million for the player, 5 million for the parents. Are these numbers really that big for what Camarda's potential might be? We're talking about a player that in the future might cost up to 150 million if he is the player that he is, right? If he is not the player that he is, okay, well, we've spent 35 on CDK, whatever. We've spent 30 on Chukwueze, whatever. Why can't we do the same with Camarda? Spend 10 million. Who cares if the agent makes money? I don't give a shit. It's not my money. So the big question is, no, your dad can stay. I was joking, bro. But the big question is this really a lot of money for a player like this when we look at the numbers that other teams are spending?
No, I mean,
that's
listen,
the question. That's the debate.
I think when you bring up Endrick, the people are going to say that Endrick was already playing for Palmeiras. like senior football. While Camarda, I guess, he's only had one or two appearances. But I agree with you. Like, I think that I don't, even though, okay, you can have whatever opinion you want about the management, but it doesn't make any sense to lose a player like this for free that you've developed, an Italian player that is useful in many ways, and then lose him for free as opposed to just biting the bullet and paying him a lot now, and then you can always sell him. I mean, it's very high probability that clubs will be interested in him in a few years anyways. So even if you want to be a money ball or like a profit club like Dortmund, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't just like, it's very low risk in my opinion. Like, so I don't think,
Yeah.
I just don't understand what would make us not do this. Again, sure, try to negotiate it down. I think that's what they're probably doing. They're just doing negotiations right now. But it's not like, so I don't think it should be like a make or break thing that they want some commission. I think that you kind of, if they have leverage here and you have to sort of do it. I mean, I just think like we saw Donnarumma at 16, a player of a lot of talent. He came in, he started playing for us pretty quickly, and he was, became one of the top keepers. Of course, we sold him he expired his contract and left. But I think like if you just monitor the contract, you have guaranteed profit because when you have these players, it's pretty clear what they're going to turn out to be. So I think this should get done eventually.
I mean, listen, the Donnarumma example is there, but it's not even the same because Donnarumma at 16 was already being given a contract that made no sense. Like he had a super high contract at 16 already, and then by the time his next contract came up, it was like it became impossible for Milan. So at 2 million, I think if it's true, 2 million, and the agent gets 10 million. If it doesn't work out, if Camarda turns out to be the next Cutrone, which obviously he's not because he's not, if he turns out to be the next Cutrone, who gives a shit? We have spent way much more money on players that turned out to be total crap. At the end of the day, what we have here is potentially the next guy that can compete with Haaland as far as center forwards goes. All right, we have that guy right there. I think that the numbers I'm seeing are numbers that are, in my opinion, justified. Yeah, you want the best, fucking make the effort. The best ain't for free. And I want to address this, what Paul said. He says, Milan has never been that club. We didn't pay agents and do stuff like that. That's Juve. I mean, I don't know if that's completely true because I don't know all the details of all the players with all the agents that Milan has had. So I don't know if that's true. But let's say that is true. Who gives a shit? We're talking about a generational talent. We're talking about a generational talent here. And the risk reward is not that much. So in my opinion, if these numbers are true, I agree with you. Negotiate with these numbers. Try get them a little bit lower. Try and try and be as cheap as you can because it is Milan after all. It is the Moneyball operation here. So try and be as cheap as you can. But at the end of the day, keep the player. Don't let him go. Because if you let him go, then you're not a top club. If you let Camarda go, you are not a top club. You're a cheap club. You're a cheap club, and all you want to celebrate is the balance sheets. I don't give a fuck about your balance sheets. This is not going to break the balance sheets. It might cause some problems in the locker rooms, maybe. Why is this 16-year-old making more money than I am? I've been playing football for 15 years, damn it. So whatever. But we're talking about a very special talent. So I'm very curious to know what people think. Should we come out? Should we go ahead with him? Should we not go ahead with him? And whatnot. All right. So for you, Antonio, is like, yeah, get him. Bring.
Yeah, of course. And I just want to say also, like, I'm pretty sure that there was an argument that I was seeing online about, I think someone else said it here in the chat that 2 million would put him over a lot of the players on the senior team. I'm not sure how many because I'm looking at Capology right now, and I think most do make over 2 million. There's a few though, like that would I think
Yeah, I know.
Reinders makes around that much, but I think like and some of the Italian players don't make that much. But I think
It's being hyperbolic.
yeah, I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration. I think that would put him right at like the other Italians on the team right now, which I think he has a lot
Like
more
Rebecca.
quality than they probably, do. But I think overall I think, I'm on board with that. Get it
Yeah,
down if
so
you can, but yeah.
right, exactly. If we can sell Coutone for 25 million, we will be able to sell Camarda for for more than 2. Yeah, look, if Milan won't be able to say no to the offers that come in the future and it's big numbers, yeah, then sell him, because this is not the Milan that we know. This is a very weak Milan mentally that has no interest in being an elite club. It's all about the money for this Milan. So, but at least do that. Don't lose this kid for free. My other question here, Antonio, is this one here. And I want to also ask everybody in the chat. If this was Real Madrid, would we even be talking about this?
No, of
Would this
course not.
conversation even exist?
No, of course not. Real Madrid would never let a player with that much, like, quality that's in their grasp leave. I mean, okay, they let Teo Hernandez leave, but that's only when they give them a lot of chances and they don't think they see anything. But so far, everything that Camarda has done, yeah, you can say, okay, how will he physically develop and how is he going to look against like fully grown players? You can have those questions, but so far, he's basically proven at every single stage of his career that he continues to be like top, top quality. So Real Madrid would never let them. Real Madrid would be taking players and bringing them into their grasp. They wouldn't be letting them leave like this. So of course not. Of course not.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, and I'm not even talking about Real Madrid. I think there's a lot of clubs in Europe that when you have a talent like this, like you already have that shit done months before the contract time comes along. Like apparently, from what we're seeing, Milan wants to wait, wait and see. I think if you are a club with elite mentality, you don't wait and see. You already have this shit secured months in advance. And the day he turns 16, the day present for Camarda, blah 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 blah, press conference, and that's what you do. You don't wait and see. Okay, maybe 10 million, maybe 5 million. I don't know. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So let's talk about the agent. 10 million for the agent. What do we think about that? Is this something that we have to accept in football? Or do we just like reject it? Like the agent here, Fadinho says all the numbers regarding Camarda is fine. It's just the agent being greedy. Yeah, agents are greedy. But I mean, can you blame the agent? That's the other question I have. Right? Camarda, his family have a contract with the agent. The agent's job is to shop Camarda around and get him the best contract possible and the best outcome possible for his career. That's what he's paid for. Obviously, the agent is going to make money. He knows that this player right now on transfer market, actually, he is one of the youngest, most expensive players on the planet, right? So the agent obviously is going to ask for big money. We're not talking about Terracciano here. We're not talking about some random kid that is coming off of the bench of a Serie B team. We're talking about a player that is doing incredible things. So, what is your opinion on the agent? Is this one of those cases where the agent is considered a monster, or is the agent just doing what he can do and make the money that he can make because he knows that there are teams out there that will pay for it? How do you see it?
Yeah, and I'm actually taking a class in school where I'm discussing like, comparisons between US sports and the structure and then the way Europe is generally set out. And of course, like in the US sports leagues, there aren't these things like, agents get paid percentages of the deals they get for their clients. Here, basically, because of the lack of regulation, it exists for these agents to be able to come in and demand like basically transfer fees on top of that. Personally, I'm very like pro. I understand. I don't blame the agents because it is the way it is. It's not like 10 million is a lot for a 16-year-old, I guess, but it's not like it's a number that is astronomical compared to, I think some other top players and what their agents maybe get. I just think like overall, if you're asking me like about the concept of these fees, I guess I'm personally inclined. I wish there were regulations that did kind of stop this from happening, just because I don't think it makes sense. If you pay transfer fees, you pay the agent, you pay the salaries, and then the players then compensate the agent. I think that's a pretty reasonable structure. I don't think the agents need to be demanding additional fees, but in this instance, it doesn't work like that, obviously. And I think I don't blame his agent right now, but I think in the future, it would be nice to see some sort of like regulation where they do stop that. But I think overall, I mean, you just have to accept it if that's the way it is right now. It's like laissez-faire like that. So, I mean, I don't really like a lot of regulations on these things, but I think this is kind of like a little bit excessive. But yeah, obviously you have to bite the bullet and just do it for this. I mean, negotiate it, but you kind of have to accept it. If you want to be a big club.
I mean, some players are special, okay? And of course, we're talking about youth players. And we don't know for sure. You never know for sure. But usually when there's smoke, it means a gun has been fired, right? That's the saying. So we're seeing some really good stuff from him. I don't see this being much of a risk. I really don't see in this much of a risk. And I think the agent is if these numbers are true, the agent is putting them up because he knows that that's what the market value is. And he knows that he can get these numbers. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. Okay, so it's okay for the agent to ask for something. I think we can meet halfway. 2 million salary and 10 million commission is too much for 16-year-olds who still haven't even scored his first goal for the club. So my question to this is, okay, let's say we decide 2 million, too much, 10 million, too much. You haven't shown enough. We're not going to do your contract. And they're going to say, well, I'm sorry, Man City here have come and they're giving us this amount, even more. Real Madrid, even more. Borussia Dortmund, even more. Then we go 5 years down the line. This kid is one of the best, now becomes one of the best players in Europe, scoring goals in the Champions League for fun. Are we going to regret not having to make this effort? So that is my question to that. That is my question. Roy, if the agent is doing these things to get the best out of Camarda, then why would you blame Milan and would question Camarda himself for not staying? Guys, I mean, this is a good thing. So what are players supposed to do? I mean, are they just supposed to be loyal service footballers for their club? I don't. Milan is not loyal to anybody right now. This Milan in particular, with this ownership, loyalty that word doesn't even exist. That word doesn't even exist. That word is banned from the vocabulary. Loyalty is bad for business in the Red Bird world. Loyalty is a word that needs to be canceled when it comes to business, whether it's your family or whether it's your best friends. Loyalty is not good for business. So I don't know. Is Camarda, should we blame Camarda for not being loyal and just saying, okay, I'm just going to play for Milan no matter what? Antonio, how do you see this?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where the agent is saying, because everyone knows you're valuable, we have leverage as an agent, and I'm sure also people are saying that the 10 million is probably going to go to the family as well. So it's one of those things where we don't know if it's the agent, honestly trying to do the most for his client and securing his family's finances as well. Of course, you would argue that his net salary per year would be enough for that, but the agent has to do what is best for the player, and not every player has the ability to have this sort of leverage. with his age, with his quality, and with the other suitors that he has. So I don't really see a problem in what they're doing. I just think it's a natural negotiation that you have to accept. Again, like I wish there were other ways around it. I wish it didn't exist this way, but it kind of does. So you just have to like bite the bullet. But yeah, I think Camarda, like I said, it's not in terms of the loyalty aspect. Like I don't think he wants to leave. And I think he would maybe even, I mean, this is just me speculating. I think if Milan cannot match what Man City or Man United would be able to pay him and promise him financially, and I think he would accept a little bit lower compared to the offers he may be getting or securing from those clubs, because I don't think he would want to like necessarily leave the country and go to a new team at this point. He would probably want to continue developing. Going to England for development also isn't like hasn't really been proven to be the best choice for many young players. So I think like if we offered him something reasonable in his like what he's demanding and we actually negotiate it, he would stay with us. Of course, it doesn't mean he's gonna, these Rossonero like for life, like we've seen players with Tonali, situations like that where crazy things happen, and it doesn't really exist anymore where you have like these players that are super super loyal like that. It's very rare. So he's not to that extent, but I think like he does have respect for us, and I think he would feel a little bit, bad for leaving for slightly more money. So I think he
Yeah,
would stay in that case.
yeah. Listen, these conversations regarding loyalty today's world are starting to get stranger and stranger. So it's Paul says Camarda is good, but you're starting to overhype this kid now. I mean, there's a reason why we're talking about him. There's a reason why the news is saying what. There's a reason why these numbers are what they are. And also, if I were to analyze the player, I've been watching, of course, guys, for me, the national team. When it comes to the youth teams, I follow them. If there are games that I can watch, I'll watch all of them. So I watched all of Camarda's games. He played 3 games in this week, so I saw him very closely. I think he's good. He is good. His 1-2s are pristine. He barely loses the ball. He scores goals. He's always in the right position. His movement is good, and he's a movement. He moves. He moves around the pitch. He finds the spaces. He outsmarts players. He outsmarts his opponents. So yeah, he's obviously good. He's obviously good. There's a reason why Italy, beat Belgium and beat Holland, and they tied against Finland. But that game was a non sequitur. But I'm seeing good stuff. Is he going to become the best ever? I don't know. Is Andrick going to become the best ever? I don't know either. But I don't think I'm overhyping him. I don't think anybody is overhyping him. If there's a reason why we're talking about him.
Exactly. And I think we need to be grateful as fans that something like this happened, because it's extremely rare to get like an attacking player that at this age is among the best in the world. Like you just saw Man City, someone from the MLS. Like we've had Camarda, he was 15, he won the Serie A, under 15 Campionato. Like we have him with us right now. We got to keep him. I mean, it's not easy to find these players. They don't come around. And again, their potential, we've seen players who don't fulfill their potential, but he has the potential. He's very intelligent, technically very good. He knows how to position himself. And then, of course, yes, he hasn't played much with the senior team, but if you saw him in the UEFA Youth League, which, reminder, he was like 15 or 16. I think he was 15 in the group stage at that competition, playing against like 19-year-olds, almost 20-year-olds, literally being decisive against PSG youth, Dortmund youth, and then I forget the other club, Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Like, bicycle kicks, headers. He was scoring almost every game against kids that are like 4 years older than him. I mean, that kind of that should tell you something. Of course, he's not.
Yeah. There's something there.
I mean, there you go. Yeah, like you have to just it's pretty obvious that if you develop him the right way. I just think the only thing that could hold him back is maybe what he can develop physically. Can he build a little bit more muscle? Like, what's his speed? Because of course that helps in today's, the way that modern football is. You need to be extremely physical, but he has he has good height. he has the potential there to grow into that. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. I think if
Yeah,
you didn't with
he
him, yeah.
seems to be right, right, and um, regarding the physicality. So I watched him play in the UEFA League because they show the games on the AC Milan app. So I saw him there, and then I saw him this week with Italy. He has grown already. Like just in the space of a few months, I did not notice that. I think that when he's going to be in his 20s, he's going to be like a truck. Like he's going to be he's going to be a truck. He's going to be super. He's going to be more than capable of physically. But let's address the elephant in the room, Antonio. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to address the elephant? If Camarda wasn't Italian, what do you think his price would be? And what do you think the general conversation would be? Because in my opinion,
Well, before I
if he
answer
was
that, yeah,
Brazilian, if he was Argentinian, if he was Spanish, if he was Dutch, if he was from any other country, man, 10 million, 50 million, 60 million, 100 million.
I'll answer that first by asking another question. What does the fact that he's Italian and he's still getting all the interest from Man City and all these other clubs tell you about how good he is? Like, I think that I agree with you that there in recent years there's been this sort of like perception that Italy's youth isn't that good. Like, on the outside, or I guess people would rank France, obviously, England higher than us. Like that's sort of been the perception, and I think like, yeah, I mean, they said that we won the Euros. It doesn't matter to them. There's been this perception that Italy, like, it was like a one-off thing at the Euros, and that they're like falling behind as a nation. I think, like, yeah, I do believe there is some truth to it. Again, I'm probably not to the same extent as you, or like we were talking about Berardi and other players in the past. I don't really agree with all of these players. The fact that, about the extent that they're discriminated against, but I do think that having come out of the, get respect around Europe in the biggest countries that don't really respect Italian young players that much or have these stereotypes is really, really important. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest. I don't really care too much about that, like whether they respect Italian players or not. I don't care about that. I really don't. But what I do find interesting is that I really believe that if he was Brazilian, if he was Argentinian, if he was any of these other from any of these other countries, like we would be talking to him about him very differently. But one thing I want to say, because you mentioned the youth. So the Italy youth right now, whatever they have been doing in these past years, it's fucking working. The U17, first undefeated in their elite group, qualified for the tournament. U19, first undefeated, qualified for their tournament. U20, first undefeated, with Germany, Portugal, England, big teams. First, the champions 3 times in a year in the elite league. U21, top, playing some really good football, very strong team. So
Yep.
whatever the youth, the Italians are doing, whatever they've been doing these past years, it's working because we're
Yes.
seeing the results, and that's very exciting for the future of Italian football.
We went to the final of the U20 World Cup. Yes, we lost the game, but I thought we were like
Yeah,
playing
good point.
really
I
dominantly
forgot. Yeah.
up until the game against the final. Uruguay did deserve that win. I've been watching as well. I think in the U21, around that age, there's Casadei. There's a lot of talent. What the heck is the other guy's name? There's another young player's name starts with who was in the U20 team. I'm forgetting his name. Milan has a few of these players like Zeroli, who there's at least we have good news about Zeroli today, which we're going to talk about. But Zeroli and Liberali and Sia, and so you're seeing a lot of these names that are performing with the national team. Scoring goals almost every single game. So like there is a lot of upside here. I guess, and also Bartesaghi has been playing too. I guess it is a good thing.
Roy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think my microphone cut out, but it's a good thing. I think the only position I would like to see is I'm just hoping that our defense can produce, or we can produce a lot of really good young defenders. I think Bartesaghi has potential. There are some, of course, but I think the national team needs that right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm very impressed with what I've been seeing with the youth teams in the past 2 years, and it's the fruits of whatever work they did. Something changed. Obviously, something changed because these are not the same results we were getting a few years ago. Like now, we're almost dominating, at least in the qualification rounds, every category, and also in tournaments. U19 won the tournament, won the Euro. U17 was really strong. They could have won the Euro. They went out on penalties, I think. I'm not sure about that. U21, that I don't know what happened there, but that was a strong team. And now this year, all the teams are kicking ass really badly. So I don't know what they're doing. Something has changed in their training or their philosophy, but whatever it is, it's working. So it's good. And Milan does have a little bit of that. You mentioned some of those players. Obviously, the U17 has Camarda and Liberali, both players that are, well, Camarda obviously is the spearhead of that team. Liberali is one of the rotational attacking midfielders. That team is packed with talented players. It's literally like all it's all Barellas. They all look like Barella. They all play like Barella, all of them. And then you have Camarda up top. And
Roy, sorry, the name that I just was forgetting was Pafundi, who's not a player with us that we own, but I think he's playing for U21. Like he looks good as well.
he's in the U19. He's in the U19.
Or U19, yeah.
Right. So Milan does have a little bit of their hand in these youth results, but not. I mean, there's a lot of players out there that are really good, because we only talk about Milan players. We know the Milan players, but I saw a lot of players there that are really good, that are really helping these teams get the results. So there's a lot of young Italian players coming up, and yeah, so it's good. I'm happy about it. I'm happy because this only means that the future should look bright for the senior team. So I'm happy about that. Pafundi is a Udinese player. He is in the U19. He is the spearhead of the U19 team this year. He was in the U20 team as a 16-year-old when the U20 got into the finals of the World Cup. Pafundi is on loan in Switzerland. Another great player, really good, super technical, super good. So great. Unfortunately, Milan will have none of these players because I don't know why, but we will see. So Andan says, of course, we're going to regret it, but also you have the flip side. What if we pay him 2 million and 10 million commission, and he turns out to be another Pellegrini who made a bad move to Monaco? I mean, my thing is this: we're talking about 2 million times 3, so 6 million. Do it gross, make it gross. So around 11 million total plus 10 million. So it's a 21 million. And probably more than 20 million investment. Okay, it doesn't work out. We have done worse business. And does it really matter at the end of the day? Whether you risk, whether he turns out to be a complete flop, or either he turns out a complete flop, or he turns out to be, a great talent. The numbers to me don't justify that much risk in this operation. I mean, if Real Madrid can spend 60 million on a 16-year-old, we can spend 10 million on one. That's what I'm saying. I think you feel the same way, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep him like at all costs. Try the best you can, and I don't know. I do think like there's, like you said, if you're looking at Real Madrid and other clubs, I don't think they would let there be news that their player could potentially leave. Of course, that could be just because they've established themselves as such top clubs today that the players don't even want to leave and they would figure something out. And of course, Camarda is probably looking at some of those clubs like Real Madrid as potential options. But I think overall, you just got to keep him. And I think it's not too hard to keep him.
Paul says, any updates on Guardia di Finanza? So as far as we know, last week they had all the documents and they're ready to evaluate the case. So we will know. Right now, there's nothing new that is going to emerge. The next piece of news will be the final verdict. And that's what we're waiting for. Tanto il Milan non lo può trattenere, lui chiederà già 18 anni, 10 milioni all'anno, sarà peggio di Donnarumma. Yeah, maybe. So basically saying that maybe at 18 years old, when this first part of the contract expires, he might be asking for more. It's possible. Look how many clubs regret not buying Haaland. Yes. Look at how many clubs regret not buying Haaland. I know Juve is one of them. They had him, and they are still crying about that. At the end of the day, when they because the agent who was Raiola, right? Haaland was a Raiola player. Yes. So the agent was asking for a lot of money, and the Juventus management was like, yeah, for a player that is not guaranteed first as a starter, no, it's not worth the risk. Well, they regret it. They regret it.
Also, one thing about the comment, like about when he's 18, sure, there's that possibility, but also you can then reassess his progression and say, okay, has he continued to show the quality that he's been showing? And you can always try to negotiate with them. And the good news is that if he does show that quality, that they do demand a lot, really high wages, then at least you have some confidence that he's been able to continuously improve and hit those levels, and you kind of have more confidence that he'll do it on the senior level. So I think it's still not the end of the world.
Yeah, and at a certain point, guys, I think Milan needs to understand that, first of all, there's a ton of inflation, right? I was just seeing a piece on inflation the other day. In 1983, $30,000 is equivalent to $150,000 today. Some crazy stuff like that. But at the end of the day, are we a top club? Are we a top club? Or are we a club that wants to be cheap, at the same time wants to be elite? Like, where are we? Where are we? Because I'm seeing the top clubs pay their talent much more money than we pay our talent. So if we are to compete with these top clubs, I know a lot of people are happy that we're in the Europa League this year. I'm not. But if you want to be up there with Man City, Real Madrid, at a certain point, you have to make that transition. Do we have to wait until the stadium is built? I don't think we need to. I don't think so. But at a certain point, we can't be this cheap club that celebrates the financial balance sheets all year. Why is that important? Why is that something that people celebrate? The financial balance sheet. I don't get it. So for me, honestly, at a certain point, we have to start paying our talent, the money that they would get in the top clubs. Because otherwise, we're never going to have top talent. Unfortunately, guys, this is the way the market is. You have to go along with the market. If you're offering top talent contract, you have to be competitive there too. I know Jerry wants to do Moneyball. Can Moneyball last forever? Moneyball failed this year. It failed miserably. So I don't know. Antonio, what do you think? Do you think Milan can sustain? Let's keep our wages low as like a Lazio in that range. They took advantage of the growth decree, and that's why the wage cap is so low at Milan. But that growth decree was only meant to be there for 5 years. It wasn't meant there to be forever. It was only meant for 5 years. Then it expired. Now, if you want to be top of the chain, you can't be like Lazio anymore. So where are we going there? Where are we going there? What do you think, Antonio?
No, I mean, I agree. Like, I do believe in the sort of thing where it's like you do have to keep in mind relative to the financial ability that we have and also who the relative salaries of the players on our team. So I do think like you have to keep some sort of balance and consistency where you have Leao, who is the most influential player. I think Hernandez even is a little bit underpaid, which is good for us, but he's probably the second most right now, and he's like paid around the same as like even Pulisic or some other players. Of course, you need to have this sort of natural hierarchy, and you have to kind of be consistent because then you're always going to have players that are asking for more money if they're not like in the right balance or in the right order of the hierarchy. But yeah, I do agree that you need to naturally be able to progress and keep renewing and increasing the salaries slowly. I don't think we've done a bad job overall, but I do think like eventually when it's time to pay like the players that have a lot of quality, like potentially come out of that, you need to be able to pay around like 10 million a season. But that's eventually like once he is in the senior team, so you can keep him. Though the thing is, though, it's like you're never going to be able to compete unless we have like an owner takeover or a Serie A like revolution financially with the top clubs. So it's kind of hard you can't actually match those contract offers, but you can at least increase them a little bit. So I think like there is some room, but it's not like
I mean, can we at least get to what Juve and Inter are doing?
Yeah,
I mean these clubs are not cheap, did not abuse the growth decree like we did. They didn't. A lot of the players that they have are not under growth decree, and they and Inter, that whatever they're doing is working for them on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Inter's wage bill. I'm pretty sure it's more than us, but yeah, I mean, of course we can do more. We are still operating under this sustainable model. I don't think it's. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure it's like the way we're currently running the wage bill is like that bad necessarily, but
it is. I know the
it.
numbers. So we are at around. Oh, fuck. I think we are 40 under Inter, maybe. I'll check right now. I'll check right now. It's on Capology. You can see all the numbers on Capology.
Yeah, I mean,
it's low.
Inter basically, like, instead of paying transfer fees, they pay higher wages. I mean, in general, that's what they do. So I believe that. I guess, I mean, I'm not necessarily sure that Inter's model, like, I'm not like in love with it. I know they're dominating Italy, so that in Italy right now it's working and they're doing really well. But I mean, it's not like I still would like to sign some young, prolific players. I mean, of course, they got Thuram on a free, so if you can get them on a free and pay them the high wage, I understand doing that. But I'm still like I wouldn't be opposed, for like a number 9 this summer. I think we should be spending a good amount of money on the number 9 position, and maybe that then leads to like not paying them a super high salary if it's possible. Like I'm not against doing those types of operations.
Yeah, so Milan is at 84 million. Right? AC Milan's total salaries is at 84 million there. The highest paid player at AC Milan is Ismail Benacer, defensive midfielder, with a gross annual salary of 135 per week, etc., etc. So we're at 84. Like that is not sustainable. That cannot work. There's no way they're going to be able to maintain that and then be competitive in Italy or Europe. Because this year, I think, yeah, okay, some teams kind of dropped the ball, and we took advantage of that. And for the most part, we did a good job taking advantage of that. But at a certain point, you have to go up there. I think Inter's at 120, or Juve's at 120. Real Madrid is like 200. Some these kind of numbers, right? Like 84. This is where Lazio is. This is where Napoli is, more or less. I think actually Napoli has a little bit more than us. I think Napoli is more than us. So I don't know how long this can be sustainable for.
No, yeah.
What's up, Herbert Kilpin?
Hello?
How you doing?
Ciao Roy, come va ragazzi? Tutto bene?
Tutto bene, tutto bene. What's up, man?
I just thought pop in for a few minutes. I was listening to you guys about Camarda and all that.
Okay, yeah, what's your opinion?
Well, let me start by saying that Longoni, as all journalists, they get things right at times, but most of the times they don't. But let's suppose the rumors are real, right? I
Mhm.
mean, to me, it's insane. 2 million for the kid, and is it 5 to 10 million to the family agents, whatever that might be? That's completely insane. I mean, he's just turned 16. You know what I mean? So I think
Okay.
it's a bit too much. I think it's a bit too much to start with. You know, and sometimes it happens many times with these kids that people around these kids, family agents, they ruined people's career. You know. But again, with that said, you have to take the risk because the guy seems really promising, you know. So whatever the outcome will be, it could turn out to be really good or a flop. We don't know that. They don't know that. Nobody knows that. But still, you have to take
Well,
the risk. And
what would be your limit?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I would give him a contract until he turns 18, right? So a couple of years contract, just a little bit under 1 million for the kid. But I will give some to the agents, obviously, and the family, whatever, but not that much money. Come on, Roy, that's a bit too much. I mean, and
And how do you deal with the competition?
yeah, I know. That's another thing you have to take in consideration. But with this kind of honor that we have, I don't think anything happened. Like, I mean, you will make a comparison in a way with the Real Madrid. AC Milan is not anymore at that place. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. It's not like when Galliani was there and they used to bring kids like now forget the nationality of the players for a second. But they used to bring kids from I don't know, Brazil or whatever, and they used to give to the wherever people around these kids, whatever they asked for. Do you remember when Kaká came, they gave his brother like a wage for doing absolutely fuck all, nothing at all. But they paid his brother, they paid the family, and they paid that. Milan is not anymore at that stage, you know, especially with these honors. To be honest with you, we can't compete anymore. I know what you're saying. If we want to be the way we were before, we have to make that transition, but not with this honor. With these honors, it will never happen. I'm beginning to lose my hope. So that's why if we change honors, then we get somebody else might be. But with this kind of honors, edge funds, none of that is gonna. Milan is never gonna be at that level that it was.
Okay, I
That's
do
my
want
opinion.
to push back on that just a little bit. I don't think these numbers are that much because obviously, if it was 60 million like Endrick, I'd be like, okay, yeah, Milan can't do that. Real Madrid can do that. Milan can't do that. But is 60 million for Endrick good? 100% it is. Because we're talking about who in Brazil, they know their football better than anybody else. That is the future best player of Brazil. They knew that about Neymar. They knew that about Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Vinicius Jr. Sometimes they get one guy, but turns out to be wrong. But for the most part, they know who the best players are. You know who the best players are. So we're not
Yeah,
talking about
don't.
stratospheric numbers at the end of the day.
Yeah, I know, but those team can afford, even if the player, the kid fails, they can afford. AC Milan is no, like I said, I don't think they can, and I don't
But
think
10
they
million,
want
we
to.
can't afford
I
10
don't think
million.
they. I probably would do it, like you said, even though, look, today's football is fucking insane. I mean, the prices are unbelievable. But if you don't want the kid to go, and if somebody else comes in, another club comes in and offer whatever they offer, you have to match the offer or a little bit more, at least match it if you want to keep the kid. Otherwise, probably will go. So either way, I don't know. It's a bet. You have to bet on the kid. So you might as well spend the money now, even though I consider it's crazy, right? But even though you have to bet on the kid, because either way you're not gonna lose that much anyway. Either like it turned out to be another Cotrone, fuck it. But they're gonna get the money that we spend. They're gonna get it back anyway, because until the player's still younger, you can still sell him, for a decent price anyway. But if he will turn into whatever he's promising now, you have like a beautiful gem in your hands, and you can, like, if you sell in the future, you can earn a lot of money. So I don't know. Look, either way, it's not an easy decision to make. But overall, tell me, it's not. Look, the kid, you give the kid whatever he wants, but I don't like those people around these kids that are thirsty for money, eager to get the money right now and here. Instead of waiting to give it a chance. Do you know what I mean? That I don't think that's good for kids to have those people around.
I mean, I agree with that. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. It's just that what are you going to do when the kid is available? It is a free market, and one team is going to put a number, another team is going to put another number, and those numbers keep going up. I mean,
Yeah,
you,
you
you
get.
just have to go. You just have to go along with whatever the free market does. Unless there are no rules, there's no caps. There's no
I
caps
know.
on how much a
I know.
16-year-old can cost.
At that stage,
So
it gets like an auction kind of thing. So the
that's what it
FIFA,
is.
yeah, whoever, yeah, it is. I know it's free market, so whoever offers more gets the deal done. I know what you're saying, but that's when UEFA, whoever the institutions of football, they should have put a rule like for the agents, for example, right? Now, forget the families for a minute. The agents, you put a salary cap, sort of speak, like you do with the players. You know what I mean? That's your fee. Whatever the deal is, that's what you get. You can't demand more than like crazy prices or crazy money. Like, you know what I mean? Some agents Raiola or Mendes, whatever, they ask whatever they ask because there's no rule. They allowed to, so they might as well do it. That's the way it is. But with that said, I will try to keep him. I will try my best to keep the kid.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind that we don't know if these numbers are real. These are the numbers that we have been
Sure.
given so far. So these are the numbers we're going to go with. Eventually, we're going to find out the truth. But a question remains: this kid has turned. It's now almost a month since this kid turned 16. Before that, we were talking about one of the greatest sensations of football of the future. Why the hell hasn't Milan already secured his contract? Why didn't they already figure this out months in advance? That is another question I have. What is going on there?
Yeah, but the same thing happened with Donnarumma. They waited too long.
Well, they need to secure this player right away. They needed to secure him the day he turned 16. Um, and in the end, this is my prediction. No matter how much he goes for, if we lose him, most likely the big topic in a few years is like how stupid were we to let this kid go. That's most likely. I mean, I could be wrong about that. Maybe he becomes a flop, and we're like, okay, Cardinale and Furlani, these guys are geniuses. They knew it all. Sure, there's that. There's that too. But if I were to put it in percentages, if we lose them, 20%, in my opinion, it's going to be like, okay, we did it was good business not to renew him, but 80% is going to be everybody's going to regret it.
Do you think? I don't know.
That's my opinion. I could be wrong or right. That's just an opinion.
Yeah, but on top of everything else, you have to consider the fact as well as that. I mean, his numbers are great. He has been shown to be a really, really good, but all at youth level, like Primavera and all that, because in Serie A he only played a few minutes. So you have to take that in consideration as well. I know whoever comes and pays for the kid pays for the potential that the kid has,
Right.
but I don't know. Look, it's really, like I said, I will try my best to keep him. I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe that's why they're waiting around to see what happens. But wherever the requests are from the agents and the family or whatever, Milan has to try the best to negotiate those deals and try to keep him. And then if he doesn't want to stay, then nothing he can do. You know.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, after having seen him play for Italy for the U17, yeah, like he is special. He is special. And also, I want to add that Zeroli also signed a contract. And right, Antonio, you said you wanted to talk about that. Are you still here, Antonio?
Yeah. I mean, no, I was just gonna say that it was official today until 2029. So
What? Damn.
yeah, I think he's 19
5
years
years?
old. Yeah, he's 19. So that's good. I mean, a 5-year contract kind of tells you that we do believe in him. I think he's shown a lot of signs. He hasn't really had many opportunities with the first team, but I think physically he's like very mature. I think I would like to see him more often. I
How
guess
old is he?
he's 19.
He's
Oh
19,
right,
yeah.
okay. All right.
Now
I thought he
listen,
was
I
young.
saw
I
I
thought he
saw him
was younger.
play I saw him play in the U19, okay? He's not the best player there. So let's not act as if he's the best player. He's a good player. He's one of the better players. But in that category, he's not the best player. While Camarda in his category is the best player.
Yeah, I mean he's still scoring goals, but of course. I'm trying to see the figures of the deal right now, but yes, he's at Italy U19. Let me just pull up the exact figures.
But it's very important also if they manage to do so to build a second team, like Juventus has. It would be very important for these kids to
Yeah.
grow, in Serie C, like.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up because it's pretty much official that Milan is trying to do it. As far as I know, they pretty much already have everything in place. We're just waiting for an opening.
Well, that's
They're just waiting
that's
for
the
an opening.
idea. Yeah, I hope they do so because, again, it is very important for the kids' growth.
Yeah, and like you guys were saying, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be developing this like Serie C team with we hired that executive from LA in the MLS. I think he's going to be
Yeah,
responsible for running that. So I
yeah.
think we are at least improving our youth sector. There's also some other interesting news about scouts and stuff I wanted to talk about, but let me just get you. I mean, there's so far. I think some of the journalists reported the salary. Longo
But
said
you,
it's 2029. Or sorry. He made it was a typo. 2028 was there was a typo in the original post. So I'm trying to see what the
but
if there's
do you guys know anything about this guy coming in from LA? I mean, who
yeah.
is he?
Apparently he was
Yeah, he was the DS of Galaxy.
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know that, but what did he do for LA Galaxy? Bringing in like dinosaurs from Europe. What has he done?
I mean, apparently he has a good relationship with Ibrahimovic and like Ibra like was vouching for him. I mean, he's
Oh
just
yeah, we know that. Yeah, I know
I
that.
guess he's
That's
just
why that's why he's coming in because Ibra.
yeah. I mean, you listen. You can judge like you if you're judging the performance of LA Galaxy and you're trying to make the conclusion. I mean, they haven't. They've been second best to LAFC in recent years. They haven't been that good.
No, I don't know Antonio Maskin because I haven't got a clue about MLS or
Yeah, I
whatever
don't
it
really
was.
watch much of
Yeah,
it.
they're not the best team. They're not the best team.
Yeah,
LA
they
Galaxy is
used to
not the
be
best.
like they used to be really big, but now they're a little bit like they're kind of an average, like sometimes below average. They're doing okay this year, but yeah.
LA Galaxy's call to fame is that they will sign celebrities, and that's what they're known for. But as far as like being a team that wins trophies consistently, I don't know. No, they haven't been that in a while. But yeah, he's coming in to do that work for Viseria Chi team. Okay, whatever. If it's for Viseria Chi, it's one
Yeah,
thing.
but apparently we'll be involved in the first team as well somehow. I don't know how, but apparently that's the way it is.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
yeah. I actually.
Okay, here we have a question. And if Pioli's what?
Oh, after this, I
What's that?
was going to bring up another piece of news, but go ahead.
Okay, let's answer this question. And if Pioli stays, do we trust him to develop Camarda the right way? Um, I mean, dude, Pioli is a professional coach, right? Like, we shouldn't get a coach just so he can develop Camarda. If Pioli stays, I think it doesn't matter. You still keep Camarda, and it doesn't even become a question. You still keep him, whether he is good at developing him or not, because Pioli is going to leave. Pioli is probably going to, if he stays, it'll just be until the end of his contract, and then he's going to go. That's what the news reports are saying right now, because of
That's
he's
another
had these
year,
good,
yeah.
yeah, because he's had these good results, but because the season hasn't gone exactly how they wanted, they're not going to renew his contract. Rather, they're just going to finish the contract. So if that's the case, he's just there for one more year. Camarda will just be there 1 year with him. I don't have a problem with that. Is Pioli good at developing young players? In my opinion, yes, because we saw him do that with Leao. We saw him do that with Tonali. We saw him do that with Kalulu. We saw him do that with a lot of young players at Milan. I'm
With
not
with
opposed
Theo,
to it.
with Theo Hernandez as well, like in a way, you know.
With Theo Hernandez, yeah, with Benacer, with all these young. Now, obviously, we're talking about Camardo as a teenager, but Pioli's not going to be there forever. And by the way, guys, I am I'm not Pioli out because I hate the guy. I'm just like, okay, Pioli, your cycle is done. Let's bring in someone new. What do you guys think?
L- Look, to me, Pioli, he shouldn't be there already. He should be ended his experience at Milan already. Um, before the season started, he shouldn't be there. To me, but anyway, it's still there, and that's okay. You know, I'm grateful for what has done in these years and all, but his time is gone to me, and he shouldn't be there. But anyway, whether he stays or not, Camarda can still do his path at Milan, hopefully if they give him the contract and all that. But we have to make a decision. We have to make our minds up about what the next coach is gonna be. Because if you ask for someone like Conte, right? Conte doesn't have time to look after kids. Conte wants to win there and then, right away. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. We have to see what kind of manager is gonna be there, because Pioli contract expire 2025, I believe. So I don't know. Even if he goes again, depends what kind of manager. If you want a manager that you can build some sort of, have some sort of project in a few years' time, and that's one thing. If you want a manager and you want to win right away, you have to get player ready to play, established player and all that, So I don't know. We have to wait in the summer, see what's gonna happen.
There's been news also, like in the last week, saying that Pioli
Yeah,
may there's stronger chances of him staying as well. So there's also that. I mean, I think it's going to depend on
yeah,
how
yeah,
this finishes.
Look,
yeah.
what
I
I'm
think
saying, Roy,
if
is yeah, go on.
yep, go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is, to me, like, not only in football but in life in general, but especially in football, after 3 4 years, right? The it's like a human thing, and relations are no
Oh yeah, yeah,
anymore the
yeah.
same. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
It's
how
not
I
the same
feel.
anymore. It's like when you start a new job, right? You're very eager to learn, to listen to directives or your boss, whatever you need to do, you know. But after a while, you get like into that like routine kind of thing. You
Right,
can't be
right.
bothered. You're not listening anymore, you know, that kind of way.
We
So
had the
that's
same thing
why.
with Ancelotti. It was the same.
Yeah, Ancelotti stayed what 70? No, how long did he stay in Milan? 10 years, something like that.
Yeah,
Can't
after a
remember now.
while, it was just
Yeah, but he had to go at
too
some
much.
stage. He had to go, you know, and
Um,
he won whatever he won.
yeah,
That's
I
different
agree.
story, right? You know. So you have to give
Okay,
him new
guys,
stimuli.
Hey
we have
guys,
to go fast. Hey, what's up, Guido? We have to go fast because I gotta close in 7 minutes, guys. So, quick.
okay, I'm working, so I have 2 minutes. But
I just want
Ciao,
to answer this
Guido.
question. I just want to answer this question.
ciao.
Maxim Maximovich, you think Leao is developed? Well, from 19 to what we saw, yes. Yes, he has been developed. Has he reached his top potential? No, I don't think so. Maybe another coach can come in and develop the next steps of his career. But from 19 years old to where we have seen Leao now, I would say yes. Pioli has done a pretty decent job with Leao. But is
Pioli
Leao a
is
finished
Leao's
product?
father.
What's that?
He's Leao's father, Pioli. He treat him like a son.
Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but
Antonio,
but
what
that's
are you
not a
saying?
good thing, though.
No, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that scouter, like the news about the new
Yeah, go
scout
ahead.
again. So basically, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but this guy, he's like only 25 years old, and he was like the head scout for like Groningen, which is a second division team in the Netherlands. They were in the first division a few years ago, and I think he was there while they got relegated, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, this guy, we just hired him to be in our scouting department, and he was signed as the head scout from Groningen. Through social media, like he was like basically. I think they found him on social media, and they were like impressed with what he was saying. But there's more to the story. Like he did have a background in like sports science and data, and so he's very data driven. And apparently, Okada must have like heard about him, and so
Oh,
basically
fuck
we're,
that.
we're just we're
So
going
it's
with
perfect,
Hey
perfect
guys,
for
I
the
didn't hear
algorithm.
before. I gotta go. Can I say something about Camarda?
Yeah, go ahead.
I cannot stay. I gotta go. So
Go ahead.
Camarda, do you know who's the agent? You know who his agent
Yeah, Beppe Rizzo.
is? Beppe Rizzo. He's the friend of Maldini. He has Maldini's son too. What do you think he's gonna
Mhm.
do?
Oh, you think it's because, well, Tonali, he was Tonali's agent as well?
First of all, anybody knows how much money these other teams offer? Because I don't know any offer from other teams. I don't think Man City, those teams are that stupid to offer so much money. I mean, you cannot compare Camarda and Hendrick. Hendrick, you see, he played with Brazil already. So, how much they want? I mean,
Well, I don't
this
think,
story
but
with the
in my
family,
opinion, it's not that much. If we
the
look at the
family wants
numbers today,
Roy. This story with the family, I never heard of this bullshit. The family got a money, 10 million. The agent fund. What the heck is that? We buy the players, not the freaking family. Like Donnarumma. This sounds like Donnarumma story. So he can go. I don't give a shit about Kamar. I want to see when he's 19 what he's gonna do. And I'm not saying he's not good. I love him, but at that age, they gotta put this stuff on these kids, please. You got to show on the field when you play Serie A and international. Then I want to see what you do.
but
Because
but
the
gu-
youth team is completely different from that. So
but let me play devil's advocate. Let me play devil's advocate.
let's say 5 million, not 15 million. 5 million, okay. Between our family, agent, and everybody.
But
Then
okay,
we
but
talk.
let me play devil's advocate here. Like he is 1 in 1 million because he's the only 16-year-old that right now, in this current moment, people are talking about these numbers. So it's not like this is normal. We're talking about an exceptional case when we're talking about Camarda. Because usually
Bro.
when
Well,
when you talk about 16-year-olds, yeah, you don't. These numbers are not.
Roy, did you see when he played with the Milan? Do you see the what was the black player that he was running with? He burned him up. Hendrik is physically super powerful to compare Camarda. So before this guy develop for real, I want to see, you know, what he's gonna do with the professional people. So you can. So I understand 5 million. Okay, let's invest 5 million for a young kid. But not 15, 20 million. That's ridiculous. Right? We got to wait another 3 years for him to play. So
yeah, let's see, guys. I don't want to regret whatever we do. I don't want to regret it because I fear that we might regret it. And I think you also have to accept that right now the numbers in football are just stupid.
Plus, Roy, if he goes to those teams, he's gonna fail. I'm telling you, because he's gonna be one of many. Instead of Milan, the fans love him. He grew up with Milan. He's gonna have many more chances with Milan than anywhere he goes. Because now he can make 10 million. His family, they'll be rich. Because in Italy, you're rich with five with the 1 million. You're rich. So. All the money, and then you don't see no more because with Milan they believe in him. He already played with Milan once, so twice. In other teams they're not gonna be. They're gonna put him on the second team, on the third team, and then you end up doing nothing. That's what. So you gotta understand the 5 million with Milan is much better than 15 with the Man City because you're never gonna see the field soon. So.
Well, I think Guido made some good point there.
Anyway, guys. Last words, guys, because I got.
Oh, listen, I gotta say you bye because I gotta go, so you can talk. Bye.
All right, ciao.
I gotta leave. Ciao.
I gotta go too. So last words, Herbert. Go ahead.
No, on Camarda, you mean?
Or whatever you're about to say.
No, I was going to say he made a good point there, Guido, and I agree with him. And as well as that, all the numbers that Camarda has shown so far, it's all at youth level, you know. And again, I do think myself that physically it's not there yet, ready to play with the big boys, you know. That's why.
But a youth level for his age, his numbers are really good.
Yeah, I know, but Roy playing with big boys is different. I mean, if you remember when he debuted against Fiorentina in Serie A, he was bouncing back in the defenders.
Sure, but sooner or later, he's going to have.
I mean, he sprinted a couple of times with the Fiorentina defender, and was no chance for him at all. I think he needs to build physically, muscle and all that. You know, that's what I think.
But he was 15. He was 15. You know, in a year he's going to be 17. Then he's going to be 18. Yeah. Obviously, he's going to grow.
Yeah, that's why just give the kid a chance to grow properly. You know, 1 year or two, and give like reasonable money, which is not whatever they're asking for, if that's true. You know, and besides, we don't know about other clubs' offers either. Are they true or not? We have to wait and see what was going to happen. You know.
Well, Camarda, according to Clint, is guys. Clint has gone crazy with some of his takes. But anyway, guys, it was a pleasure. Antonio, any last words?
Yeah, just to let you guys know, I mean, Giroud is also leaving, so just putting that out there. He's going to LAFC at the end of the season. Yeah. So yeah, there's also.
So
I liked him. Good luck to him.
Anyway, listen, we're going to start doing the Milan news regularly now because we're getting close to the end of the season and we're starting to talk about what the next year is going to look like. That is more interesting to me than anything else that is going on right now with Milan. So Milan news is going to be back regularly. I don't know what time yet, but thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time. Let's see what happens with Camarda. I'm going to finish with this. I don't care how much the price is right now. Pay for it. And then whatever. Of course, not everybody shares that opinion, but we'll see what happens. Herbert, thank you so much. Antonio, thank you. See you guys next time. Everybody in chat, thank you. Click that like button on your way out. See you next time. Arrivederci and ciao.